Will you commit to making sure that there is a peaceful transferal of power after the election?
Well, we're going to have to see what happens.
This is not just an election between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. This is an election between Donald Trump and democracy, and democracy must win.
I've been complaining very strongly about the ballots.
I think it is terribly important that we actually listen to and take seriously what Donald Trump is saying.
It's a rigged election. It's the only way we're going to lose.
That's a rigged election waiting to happen. You're going to see a rigged election.
We don't want a rigged election, but that's what you're going to have.
It'll end up being a rigged election, or they will never come out with an outcome. We don't want to have a rigged election. I know that.
What he is saying is that if he wins the election, that's great. But if he loses, it's rigged.
Mr. President, are the election results only legitimate if you win?
So we have to be very careful with the ballots. The ballots, that's a whole big scam.
Heads, I win. Tails, you lose. In other words, in Trump's mind, there is no conceivable way that he should leave office.
Do you commit to making sure that there's a peaceful transferal of power?
We want to get rid of the ballots, and we'll have a very peaceful. There won't be a transfer, frankly. There'll be a continuation.
I am not in the habit of quoting former President Ronald Reagan, but I think something that he said in his first inaugural address makes the point about how important, how precious is this part of our heritage.
The orderly transfer of authority as called for in the Constitution routinely takes place as it has for almost 2 centuries, and few of us stop to think how unique we really are. In the eyes of many in the world, this every 4-year ceremony we accept as normal is nothing less than a miracle.
There is nothing in our Constitution or in our laws that gives Donald Trump the privilege of deciding whether or not he will step aside if he loses.
The ballots are out of control.
Ballots are missing. There's fraud.
There are going to be millions of missing ballots.
Even Republican Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell tamped down concerns about mail-in ballots.
Many parts of our country vote by mail. Oregon, Washington, and Colorado voted by mail for years. We're going to have a credible election.
And yet, we have a president today who calls mail-in ballots
It's a scam. It's a hoax. Everybody knows that.
Can you give a direct answer? You will accept the election?
I have to see. Look, I have to see.
The net effect of what you tweeted this morning and what you're talking about now to cast doubt on the results of the November 3rd election.
Well, it's had an interesting impact.
He wants to defund the Postal Service in order to limit the use of mail-in ballots.
If we don't make a deal, that means they don't get the money. That means they can't have universal mail-in voting. They just can't have it.
Amazingly, at the very same time, Trump is making completely baseless allegations about voter fraud. Last month, he urged the supporters in North Carolina to try voting twice.
Let them send it in and let them go vote. And if their system's as good as they say it is, then obviously they won't be able to vote.
Which, among other things, is a felony.
Here we are, and we're going to be here for another 4 years.
In order to advance his plan for mass voter suppression, the Trump campaign filed a lawsuit in Nevada.
We have many lawsuits out there. This will be the greatest fraud in history.
We're going to win 4 more years in the White House. And then after that, we'll negotiate, right? Because we're probably, based on the way we were treated, we're probably entitled to another 4 after that.
Which is obviously a violation of the Constitution's 22nd Amendment.
But if I don't win it this time, I'm not coming back. Not for term 3, 4, 5, or 6. Maybe I'll sign an executive order. You cannot have him as your president.
Trump has also urged his supporters to become, quote, poll watchers. And we're already seeing this in Virginia, where early voters were confronted by Trump supporters. Given the significant increase in mail-in ballots, why, you might ask, are Trump and his allies trying to attack the integrity of our vote-by-mail system?
They'll be fixed, they'll be rigged.
And the answer is pretty simple. A number of studies have shown that for whatever reasons, Republicans are more likely to vote in person, while Democrats are more likely to use mail-in ballots.
I'm very worried about mail-in voting because I think it's
subject to tremendous fraud and being rigged.
Regardless of what Donald Trump wants, the American people will preserve democracy in our country.